were you born, Marion?
1919. In May. I could have been born earlier, but I wanted to wait till the grass was green.
You were born, but
In 1920. I'm younger than you.
yeah, quite a bit. Would you, Marion?
Oh, I started school at the Berg School when I was 5 years old.
But how many were there?
Oh, usually varied, I suppose, around 20, 25. There was just two in my class when I started, just Harlan Easton and I.
You skipped some through that.
Well, we went through all the books they had, so we went through year.
Yeah.
And then the next year we made another grade, so then we got years old when I started high school. I graduated from 8th grade. I was just 11 years old. And then we graduated. Our school stopped in April. It was the last of May. When I graduated, and then I went to Blooming High School. I was 12.
Bernice said she was 12 when she was in school too. I didn't realize that. She did skip too. I didn't realize that.
And they didn't have enough books. One grade, all the books they had. One grade they give you from the next year's in. If you got through that, 2 grades.
Teachers?
Yeah. Irene Loftus, or Irene Hilson, her name was at that time. She married Norman Loftus, was her first teacher. Then we had Mabel Heen, and then Elma Benson.
Where'd Mabel Heen? I've heard him a lot.
She was from Pekinyon, Minnesota. She wrote me a letter
She
3 years ago. Wanted all about the family and so forth. Get it before she.
Did she teach quite a few years?
Yeah,
I heard the name a lot.
she taught for quite a few years out there. I suppose she was there years anyway.
To high school for 4 years.
Yeah. I stayed home 1 year. About 3 years. 1 year, and I went back and finished. In 34, keep a hired man that year. So I helped. I stayed home, worked.
Remember anything about Grandma?
Both grandma. All I can remember when I was small, they held me up, cough, and looked at Grandpa. I was just a year old, but I can remember looking at him. That's all I remember about him.
Yeah, because I just very vaguely remember the two grandmas. But very vaguely.
And Grandpa Thompson was dead before I was born.
Yeah, he was dead when Mom was 17 under.
So, but I can remember, one thing I remember about Grandma Thompson, every time we go down there, we had homemade bread and strawberry sauce.
The only thing I can remember is Leon was usually there. Leon and Warren.
Yeah.
Leon could climb a tree barehanded climb the trunk of a tree.
Oh,
Yeah. Climb a tree like a monkey.
right now he could hardly climb up into the trunk.
No, I'm sorry, it was Warren that could climb
Warren.
a tree like a monkey. Yeah. He could climb a
But
tree.
what I remember about Warren when we had a family reunion or anything, at that time they didn't have motors, just gas engines to run everything. And then start every engine on the farm before he went.
He was a
He was all greased before he was ready to go home.
Yeah.
But he always had all the gas engines running.
Yeah, I remember
I remember when we were thrashing over to Ted Hellick's, they had a gas engine pumping water for the horses. Art Hellick was throwing sticks at the flywheel on the gas engine and something went too far enough so it caught the magneto, jerked the magneto off. Next year, we come back, Ted never got the gas engine fixed, and we had to pump water by hand for the horses.
that would teach you hard.
Yeah, he only pumped water by hand after that. But they threw a lot of sticks at it and they always just fly. But this right through the spokes and went around, caught the magneto.
Gladys, you were born where, across the river? What?
Udolpho Township.
You don't. It was right on the river, though, or right on a creek.
Bricks.
Between two creeks.
Mm-hmm. One creek on each side of the building.
Right. Then I went to school in District 60. Over there. Almost a mile from home. Walked every day.
Uphill both ways.
No, I don't think it was. Just got a flat country over there.
How many sisters and brothers? When did your sister go to Tracy?
Oh, she went after she was married. Probably 2 years, maybe after she was married.
38,
Many years.
32 or 34. They went to,
Or 34, maybe.
Yeah, I was always going to visit her when I was stationed. And then we go down.
Yeah, she did once in a while, but she's coming for our 50th wedding
Are you
anniversary.
sick?
Just here last fall.
You got married when you were what, 18 or something?
He was 19.
Yeah.
So, yeah, seven.
Yeah.
We're trio.
Where'd you get married at?
Little Brown Church, Nashville, Iowa. 50 years ago. This fall.
This fall. Oh.
old for my age anyway, because I started doing the man's work when I was pretty young. I went thrashing and
Funny, I don't ever remember you doing man's work.
That's because you weren't around. Never home.
He was tinkering or something.
You remember what you used for farm equipment?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had a in the 30s, early 30s, we had a 1530 tractor. And quite a supply. We also plowed with 5 horses on the game. I remember one time I stayed home from school and was supposed to be on the street with the gang. And it was colder. My dad went shredding that day, and I went out with the horses on the gang and put it in the ground. And
Well, you didn't need it the rest of the winter anyway.
no, I didn't need it in the spring. But I don't think I was over about 9 years old that time and driving 5 horses on the gang.
Especially with the tractor.
Well, I didn't like to drive that 1530. It shot the exhaust the side and always make me sick. Breathing on fumes. And so after you warmed up, you had a little gallon tank on that for gasoline, and then you turned it to kerosene.
Yeah, right.
And then you just breathe them fumes in all day. If the wind was right, you breathe them.
Ford before that, I believe.
They had a Peterson before that. Up that it was steel wheels. I remember down in the quarter and they hooked onto the disc. They only had a 7-foot tandem disc. They dissed it. Then I had to go down there, 4 horses on the digger and fill the guts for disc. Across it got down 8 inches. It tracks about 8 inches deep all the way up the field.
Yeah, but nobody could make them believe their tires would give you enough as much traction as a.
Yeah. We got that F30 in 37. It was.
Yeah, I could remember that.
Yeah, it was you. I traded that for.
On that place all of your life? You were born
I was
there?
born on the place they lived on when I got married. I lived there for 18 years. My dad farmed there 10 years. There was never,
Was it?
no, it was never my dad's farm. It was my grandfather's farm.
Why didn't I?
Never bought it. Grandfather had 2 farms.
Didn't your dad and mother retire and move to town?
Yes, Dad had a heart attack and we couldn't farm anymore. And Marion and I went over and farmed 1 year and we moved to town. And I was there a year before he passed.
Before he passed away. Spring and he passed away.
Then my mother bought. And then Raymond Arnold lived in our house too, in the downstairs. And she had somebody else in the
Willard Krugers.
Willard Kruger. Then she sold lost. Boy, you remember what year it was?
Exactly. About 62,
Well, Kay was going to junior
I think it was.
first year junior, I think, because
Moved to where? To
Or,
the
place.
right off the highway.
Yeah. Or,
from my
So it was
sister's farm. We
Ella
farmed,
Noble had it at that time.
farmed 1 year with Roy Angel. Then
Lived with?
we lived in half of the
I don't remember that.
for just 1 year.
We moved here in 1945.
I remember going over and milking was during Easter vacation, I guess it was, because you guys were that damn end drive was so muddy.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
fun.
I haul the milk because the milkman couldn't get in.
yeah. I know I had a pulled off a good horse, and yeah, I had a load of hogs on. I got stuck there. Went back and got just that one horse. He pulled, and he finally got it out. Pulling. Just couldn't drag his hind feet out.
A lot of trouble with end drives. When I first moved here too, it rained so hard we had to drive out the field. What was that, about a year we had to drive in the field before we got
In the
over?
fall, towards fall, we got this tractor.
And it happened to rain those days.
Uh,
Yesterday.
Rain, so I was driving across by there. So that we were out this way. This was always the wettest out here, so I drove across out that way, got in the big pond. It rained, so and I opened the door and the car stopped. I mean, opened the door and the water come clear up to the seat on the car.
Yeah, I remember we bought this in the fall of the year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because remember we came.
Nothing but a cornfield.
No, and that was the Sunday Marble Tree Host got shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was with. After, we still think I shot. And I got the blame. Got the blame. Was with
Yeah.
when the ambulance was there when we went back. Remember that?
Well, I know who shot him.
Yeah.
You had a good experience.
I did too, but I and Roscoe got the blame for it as far as anybody was concerned at the time. You remember you built the house in the barn here.
Now, I built the house. Sure. Well, first of all, when I bought, then I went up to the bank and I was going to see if I could get borrow enough money. $1,000 on this 135 acres here, and I was going to see if they'd give me money to build a barn and a house. The old boss told me, he says, "I'll tell you, you can't make it." He said, "So we're not going to give you money." Bill says, "I can sell you." He said, "This place." So I went up and looked at it, and he wanted $350 for him. I said, "That's quite a bit." And I said, "Wouldn't you take $250?" And he said, "Yeah, you take $250 for it. Get out of there." And of he listened and what they charged to move that barn out here, and they wanted $1,500 to move it out here. Well, I $1,500, so I didn't hear him cut the top off, even with the hay barn. Slid that off from the bottom part, moved that, and I had the top for a hog house, and moved the bottom part out here. Done it all with wagons, and no expense, you know. And then I put slew hay over the barn for a roof. Hay barn floor, so to shed water. I milked the cows in there for 2 years.
Where'd you get the lumber for the house?
I cut that on halves with Bud Lewis down there. It was cottonwood lumber. Put that up, and then ready to move in here. We moved in February and put that house up during the winter because I didn't get possession in December. Because Clarence Smith had bought the corn here and he never got the corn out, so I could build on there, start anything before he got the corn off from here.
You must have cut the timbers at Lewis's in the spring now.
No, in the winter
It
time.
was in the winter time?
Everything had to be done that winter. It's in the fall, really, late fall.
Okay. I remember cutting timbers over there, cutting cottonwoods up.
Yes,
We had a saw from Elvin Gate.
that big, on the B tractor. He bought that from this one that lives up there. This is there.
We sawed them all up with a buck saw or that saw.
Yeah.
That worked pretty good. Except when it pinched and the back end of the tractor went back and forth instead of
Yeah. All saw it in like I suppose in December.
Well, then I must have worked on a Christmas vacation. Because
Probably
I
did
remember
because I
working
had
on
to
it.
have the lumber for to put up the house. I sawed that up on halves of them,
Mhm.
and we each paid
Built in 46,
45.
45.
I bought it in 44. And then after I bought this, then old and told me place, Ellen Noble's place, and I could have bought that for 49 an acre for $500 down. We come here one day, and I didn't say yes or no, and then 2 days later, Clarence Ingolson bought. I could have bought that and stayed there. They wouldn't have to build a house with it.
Yeah. Place every time it rained, it'd drive you nuts over there. God darn, it was a mud.
Got
It's the
nice,
muddiest place I've ever seen.
nice in drive in there now, though.
Yeah. But even the yard, wherever you went, when it rained, it got mud.
Yeah. Just south by the bus,
Yeah, black, sticky mud.
Mm-hmm.
Then, what, the Kay was born at your mother's, or your folks'?
Kay was born over home.
Oh, Kay was born over. Where were the rest of the kids born?
Kay and Cass we lived in an apartment in your folks' house. And then Marvin was the first one born when we lived here. The rest of them all born.
Born here.
We lived here.
Why now?
Where they all at?
Yeah.
Kay lives in Austin, and she works for the credit union.
What's her name now?
So she's Kay Miller. Works at Weyerhaeuser. And Kathleen lives in Wabasha, and she's married to Norman Bushan. And they have 3 children. She teaches in Lake City, and Norman is.
Have any-
Oh, I guess she had a couple, didn't she? Yeah. She's got. She's married to Phil Murray, and she has little Emily, and they're expecting another baby. And Sherry is at junior college. Oh, Heidi is going to Winona State, and she's engaged to marry Brian Stamp. I better get this right, or you'll catch me. Dennis goes to River Falls, Wisconsin, and Beth is at home. And she's in grade school yet. Then who's next? And lives across the road, Cornways, and Mabel Hoffman. They have 3 children, Michelle, Natalie, and Lee. And Michelle goes to Mankato, and Natalie is a senior, and Lee goes to elementary. Or he goes to high school now. He's ready to. Then it's Galen. On the end of our farm. And he married Dorothy Marie Hodson. Children, Lance, and Lance goes to junior college in Austin. And goes to school. I think she's 7th or 8th graders. I guess no grandchildren, I can't remember now. And then who comes next?
Bonnie.
Bonnie.
Roger's
Bonnie's older than
Yeah,
Roger.
Bonnie's older.
We don't know our own kids. Connie's married to Calvin. They live in Austin, and she teaches first grade in Austin. And Ripple works for group home in Austin for the mentally retarded. And yeah, school, grade school, in October. And Roger, he married Donna Johnson, and they had 2 children, Landon and Laura. They both, no, Laura doesn't go to school yet, does she? No. Go to kindergarten next year. Landon's in 3rd or 4th grade. And he helps with the motel business in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. No? Then, let's see, we got
Daryl.
Daryl's at home. Of course, Daryl's in a wheelchair. And
He's a shyster.
yeah. He's 14 years ago. Gets along pretty good by himself.
Remember, who was the first president you remember?
Oh boy, don't ask me. Yeah,
The
Dad's
first president I remember was Woodrow Wilson. Harding, and then they were a peace organization from having any more wars. Then you had Harding, and then Coolidge, and the president. From there on, those two I don't know too much about, but Hoover, I can remember him. He was the president in the Great Depression.
Mm-hmm.
And when Franklin Roosevelt was elected, when he'd talk up to the radio and quite a speaker, and he told you something he was really interested in always.
Remember
Ma she worked awful hard all her life. She used to every night and morning come down to Martin Milk House and go in the house and make breakfast and come in breakfast. And she was the fat. Never had a hired man or my dad or I or anyone could keep up with her.
that's strange too, because she wouldn't.
No. But she was tough.
Yeah,
She was